Good evening and a warm welcome to everyone who has joined us today. As some of you know, we are Arjuna Group. For the past 12 years, we have been serving the student community across India, the future of our nation. And we have interacted with so many students, and based on this experience, we are presenting to you a webinar on the most common difficulties that parents face in dealing with teenagers today in a new environment with a lot of gadgets and distractions and a whole new situation. What are the parenting principles which we can apply so that we can benefit today's generation of students to the maximum? And today we have a very relevant topic for you: parenting styles to raise responsible teenagers. We will be talking about how a parent should behave or not behave to inspire the right values in the children. What are the different types? What are the right examples to follow? These wonderful topics we'll actually be discussing on today's session. And before introducing the main speaker for today's session, we have our chief guest, Mr. N. Mukteshwar Rao. So we are very fortunate to actually have him with us. He was the joint executive officer of Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam (TTD). He was the joint collector of Hyderabad. He worked as the collector of Nalgonda district. He was the secretary to the government of Andhra Pradesh of Culture, Sports and Youth Affairs. He was the commissioner of enrollments as well now. And post retirement, he has worked as a special officer in TTD. And we are actually very fortunate to have him because he'll have so much experience in dealing with so many people. And sir, we are very eager to hear from you about what wisdom you have to share. So over to you, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Giridhar, for a brief and nice introduction. At the outset, let me thank the Arjuna Group and its leader, Amal ji, for taking such a nice initiative, speaking about the parenting part. Probably this is the most important item which is missing the discourse every day. We are talking about various items published in news. We are also having a lot of shocks to the conscience when young people misbehave. But we are taking it as a news item, but we are never thinking in terms of the role of the parents in such a happenings. Uh, these kind of people, particularly when youth resort to violence, aggression, street fights, even in the engineering colleges, professional colleges, uh, we are mute witnesses to that. And it is for us to make a thorough introspection why and how these things happen. After all, when without much bothering ourselves, we can easily find locate the problem. Uh, the problem is in the way how we are grown up or how we are brought up by our parents is the main and most important issue. Missing the discourse everywhere. Probably this is the only organization which is speaking about it. At the moment, I am also attempting a book on the parenting along with many other items like mother tongue and other relevant issues. How they influence and what's the kind of value system one is expected to learn, and how the cultural ecology around him influences him. One of them is definitely the parenting. The parenting is the most critical part of the item. Therefore, I personally believe you are making a very good attempt. When we speak of the parenting, two things to come to my mind. Number one is the status of a parent. Number one. Number two is Number two is the function of a parent. The status and function are mutually relevant. They are not exclusive or isolated items. Uh, how you define your status as a parent really determines the kind of parenting you are likely to have as a function. This is precisely my topic today. It's about, suppose if I think as a parent, I get so many number of powers over the child, or so many number of dreams about the child, or so many number of ideas about the child, and these things really determine the kind of parent I am going to be. Therefore, it is necessary for us how we evaluate our status vis-a-vis the child is the real crux of the issue, and the parenting is about how you define your status as a parent is the most important item. The next item is the function. The function of the parent. We have mostly parents are becoming more like a service providers these days. Uh, uh, no, children want um, children want many things. They're basically the children are consumers of all kinds of goods and all kinds of services. And we are when a child is born and when a child comes to the world, first we think of his schooling. We are bringing up the children as consumers to the schools, as consumers to the colleges, as consumers to the shirts, suits, then bikes, cars, electronic gadgets, and fashion costumes. So many number of things. These are the things. The child is basically more of a reduced to the level of a consumer, and parent is more of a more of a service provider. This shows the whole story that parent is more biologically inclined towards the child, not too much psychologically. Even if it is psychologically, it is not about humanizing, it is not about passing on the samskara which he ought to do. Particularly in the Indian context, we need to remember we are born into a family. Family doesn't mean a few members in the family. Me, myself, my wife, and two or three children is not about family. If the family is about grandparents, family is about cousins, family is about even the people working with us, service providers or domestic helps. All these people are treated as families. When we try to go deep into the family, we need to offer our some place for everyone. Somehow, this kind of togetherness of the family, this kind of broadness of the family is now slowly on the wane, and nucleus families are emerging. Therefore, the children are becoming more like no consumers to various kinds of goods and services, and the children are becoming the parents are becoming the service providers. But in the present context, when I went through the note, it's really inspiring. It reminds us that the parent need to take care of the parent need to take care of the children's welfare, and he has to inspire, he has to guide, and he has to be a model for them. In fact, it is for me, for me to tell you, the children absolutely, even teens, copy us, good, bad, or indifferent. They copy us. Parents are models for the uh, parents are models for the children. Therefore, it is for us to take care that what kind of models we are. I shall tell you two important incidents. One of my one of my friends sometime back had a very bad experience with his children. When he is he has a son, only one son, and he was brought up by just a minute. Somebody was knocking at the door. Yeah. Yeah. Again on the line. Uh, he he was the only child. When the child during his childhood, his mother was taking care of him very well. In the lunch box, she keeps all kinds of sweets and all kinds of relishing items. When this child tried to share with some of his friends and came home and happily declared that he has shared these delicious items with his friends, mother scolded him very badly. Another incident, when he tried to help his cousin who has lost his compass, uh, again he was scolded not to share. And the mother was always telling him, look, you have copied all the bad practices of your father. Never try to share anything. Over a period of time, this boy grew up, became an officer, and now when the parents go to him, uh, when parents go to him, and when the parents had some serious sickness and they were to stay with him, uh, they overheard a conversation between him and his wife. Generally, the boy has to request for the cooperation of his wife, during their stay with him. In fact, the daughter-in-law was arguing the in-laws case, and this boy, the son, is arguing about their leaving. Why should we burden, and we should send the money and let them take care of themselves? What is this? Then, because he was from the beginning, from the childhood, he was told not to share. Not to share or share is a value. Sharing is a value. Helping is a value. Charity is a value. Being generous is a value. Helping a stranger is a value. Atidya Dharma is a value. Abhyagata Swayam Vishnu is what is told to us for generations, for centuries, for millennia. We were told even a stranger need to help. This is how we were told. But somehow uh, this new generation had a different kind of understanding about the family and about the role and about the individuality itself. I also have a personal experience. When I was a child, I went outside, uh, um, learned some abusive words in Telugu, particularly abusing somebody's mother, something like bastard. I learned it, and my mother was applying this tilakam on my forehead, and when she was preparing me to the school, I used the word against a friend uh, who was standing at a distance. She heard it, and she pinched my ear and said, "This is extremely bad. His mother is also like your mother, and every mother is noble. And if you do like this, it's very difficult for me to tolerate." And she said, "Because you used this word, I will forego my meals today until you come back and tell me that you will not use any such abusive word against somebody. And you come back and express your repentance wholeheartedly. I will not give up my fasting," she said. I also cried myself, and it changed my conscience. And this is a very important story of my personal life. And I also had an experience as a parent. The first experience which I narrated is about when I was a child, I had that experience. And the second experience is I also found some of the children, some of my friends of my sons, when they were talking to each other, they were speaking very ill of girls, mostly in the consumerist ecological system. We have been reduced to believe that woman is some kind of object of pleasure, sensual enjoyment. These kind of things have come, and boys are using very dirty language. I overheard it, and I called them. I really tried to help them how their origin and growth comes, and how this woman is a fellow human being, a personality by herself, an individual by herself, and she does all kinds of works which others do. And she also helps, and she also gives birth to you, and she also becomes a companion, and she is many roles rolled into one. And she is the really not only producer of the mankind, sustainer of the mankind. And for this, I have taken many examples. Another example, with this example, I will conclude. One day I had an occasion to discuss about um, uh, discuss about what is the kind of right love and wrong love. I will have to prove the point. I have taken a story, probably storytelling for in the part of the parenting. Instead of speaking directly to the children and making a lot of sermons, if we take some examples, some kind of stories, some kind of narrations, and they will help them to realize the point very quickly. I shall narrate this the right kind of love and wrong kind of. This is a story about Siddhartha and Devadatta. Siddhartha and Devadatta are cousins. Uh, One day, Devadatta he noticed that some kind of swans were flying in the sky with all the freedom they have at their command, and this Devadatta hit one of the swans with an arrow, and finally that dropped with a lot of injuries, and that dropped before Siddhartha, and Siddhartha picked it up, washed the injury, and controlled the bleeding, and gave a lot of medication, and helped it helped it to come back to normalcy. When this has happened, Devadatta has come there, and he said that the swan belongs to somebody who has hit it. Siddhartha said, no, swan doesn't belong to somebody who has hit it. Swan belongs to somebody who has protected it. Protection is a matter of love. Hitting is matter of injury, and hitting is matter of neglect. Hitting is a matter of looking down upon somebody, and hitting is something like a hunting, and it doesn't belong to the hunter. It belongs to the saver. This is how the argument was going on. And when they finally went there to their father, father told them, swan belongs to. He gave a litmus test. He said, if swan, I let the swan to let go free. If swan goes to Siddhartha, it is Siddhartha's swan. If swan goes to the hunter, Devadatta, it belongs to him. Swan ultimately, we can guess, went to Siddhartha, and this proves the story, the right kind of love, affection, kindness, compassion. These are the things which will really roll into the real kind of love. This a lot of debate has taken place with my children on this side, and they are developing a small film story on this subject. What I'm trying to say is, uh, we need to spend a lot of time giving time, giving money, giving the many kinds of consumer goods, of all these things. Giving time is the most precious thing that you can give to the children. Therefore, I personally feel giving time, sharing their idea, being democratic to them, allowing them to speak, and trying to listen, however harsh they are, and trying to understand them really goes a long way in the good parenting. This is what all I thought I would speak today. Thanks for the opportunity to share with such a nice platform. And I personally feel this is my good fortune that I am able to share with this thing. Amalji has been doing, and Arjuna has been doing this great work, and I wish them all the success. And they are never sparing about their personal effort and energy when it doesn't lack, and God helps them. This is the truth. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho. uh, when you hold the bow and always do something, when you are in action, God is likely to help you in all possible ways, and let their path be very noble and wonderful. And I wish them all the best. I conclude with the greatest quote from Shakuntalam. In Shakuntalam, when Shakuntala leaves her home towards her husband's home, Kanva Maharshi says, Sivaste Panthana Sandhu, let your ways be noble. Let your ways be wonderful and great and uh, uh, I don't know corresponding word. Let your ways be Mangalakaram. Let your ways be Sivaha. That's how he says. And I wish you all the best. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Actually, that was a very wonderful talk you gave. You talked about how you have seen in your experience that a lot of problems which come today are because of the wrong parenting strategies, and you also mentioned how the children actually mirror their parents in their behavior. And you were saying in today's consumeristic society, many times people are treating others as objects, and you explained with a lot of wonderful stories how we should actually be doing things. So it was a very wonderful presentation, sir. Thank you so much for your time. Now, next we'll go on to the next section of our program, and our much-awaited talk by our keynote speaker, Mr. Amal M. Das. For those of you who have been joining us for the last 3-4 sessions, you are already very familiar with Sir and how he presents his very systematic thoughts. And as you all know, he has already interacted with 3 lakh students. He is the author of national bestsellers like The Art of Concentration in the Age of Distractions, as well as Time Management. And very soon, he's going to be coming out with a book on parenting. So these webinars which you are attending are actually like a prelude of that book where you can learn much more details. And actually, I won't take any more of your time, sir. Sir, over to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very thank you for the welcome. And as well as, first of all, I would like to thank our dear Mukteshwar sir. Although he is busy in his various works which he does in his service to India, and a very wise person, as all of you have already heard sometime before. So although we have seen that Mukteshwar Rao sir is a busy person, but still he actually gave us time, and I am sure whoever has attended this speech which sir gave, it was filled with so much of wisdom, and in fact filled with so much of practical examples from his own life, his own experiences, as well as the Indian Vedic texts, as he shared some stories. The stories of one of the story which he shared about Devadatta and Siddhartha and their father. how the swan belongs to not the one who has hit him, but actually to one who cared for him. So the whole aspect of how the power should be used was very beautifully actually narrated by this story by sir. I was very, very happy to see, and I'm very grateful to you, sir. In case if you are hearing this, very, very grateful that you gave us your time, and we really wish to do after this lockdown gets over. In various forums we can be together, and a lot of service can be done. I welcome each and every parent who has come to this session evening on Sunday, 6 p.m. to 7:30. Every month, once Arjuna is sharing wisdom for parenting teenagers. This program is very special because rarely you get such opportunity where the very important people from across India have taken very high seats of responsibility. They have been doing so wonderfully in their the fields, and now they are sharing the wisdom of parenting with the parents of India. तो हम सशक्त करना चाहते हैं इस भारत को, इस भारत भूमि को. भारत एक पुण्य भूमि है और पेरेंटिंग एक बहुत ही पवित्र और पुण्य कार्य है. तो आज आपने सुना मुक्तकेश्वर राव सर से, और हम सब लोगों के लिए बताना चाहते हैं कि हर महीने आप एक दिन संडे के शाम 6 से 7:30 बजे इस चैनल पे जरूर आइएगा. हम एडवर्टाइज करते हैं. देयर आर वेरियस चैनल्स ऑफ एडवर्टाइजमेंट. यू बी कनेक्टेड विद अस ऑल द पेरेंट्स. माय रिक्वेस्ट इज एक शाम एक महीने में डेडिकेट करो समझने के लिए, सीखने के लिए, टू लर्न, टू अंडरस्टैंड द वैल्यू ऑफ प्रिंसिपल्स बी यूज्ड इन द पेरेंटिंग टीनेजर्स. सो किसी भी, मैंने बहुत पहले भी बोला था, किसी भी पेड़ को बड़ा करने के लिए, वी वांट टू ग्रो अ सीड इनटू अ बिग ट्री, यू हैव टू पुट अ लॉट ऑफ एफर्ट. ओवरनाइट नहीं हो सकता है. So if you think that I just sow the seed and tomorrow a fruit will come, that will never happen. So you have to do a lot of effort, lot of उसका planting करना पड़ेगा. Before that you have to seed, you have to grow, make the soil soft, fertile, sow the seed, then water it every day, fence it, so that nothing actually harms the seed, harms the small plant, the shrub which will come out. Correct? So otherwise some goat can come and eat away the the plant itself. So you have to do a lot of hard work, fencing it, caring for it, continue watering it for long time. After watering for very long time, protecting it, doing everything, after long years, 1 year, 2 years, sometimes 5 years, sometimes 10 years, then only later you will get a fruit. So something similar the parent should note for parenting also. लोग मेरे पास आते हैं, हमारे पास आते हैं और बोलते हैं कि सर व्हाट इज द फॉर्मूला ऑफ रेजिंग रिस्पांसिबल टीनेजर्स, एंड दिस इज व्हाट दिस होल प्रोग्राम इज ऑल अबाउट. वी आर शेयरिंग विद यू द बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस which we have derived from two sources as always. Number one, from the Vedic Indian texts, the ancient texts, our inheritance, right? From there, as well as the cutting edge research, the psychological research which has been done in various countries about what actually leads to the right impact. How can a parent impact the child in the right way so that the children can actually be very beautiful, very responsible people who can do so much good for this world, right? So मैं कह रहा था कि एक पेड़ के एग्जाम्पल से आप देख सकते हो, एक ट्री के ग्रोथ के एग्जाम्पल से आप देख सकते हो that it's not going to be overnight that suddenly the fruits will come, right? If you want the fruits, you will have to work hard for it. Similarly, dear parents, आप सब लोग ये समझिए कि अगर आप रिस्पॉन्सिबल टीनेजर्स को ग्रो करना चाहते हैं, कुछ तो आपको हार्डवर्क करना ही पड़ेगा. यू विल हैव टू लर्न द वे, द राइट वे टू पेरेंट द चाइल्ड. It is not that we can just do whatever we like and we get the same result. ऐसा नहीं होता है. There are principles which guide our practices. There are certain practices which we have to do. Then only we can get the right result. ही नहीं. उसी तरह से जैसे कि एक किसी भी natural process में होता है, you have to follow certain natural laws. You have to follow certain natural principles. So what has happened is that with the invasions of Britishers in India from the 19th century till now, there is a lot of generational gap in the terms of the value transfer has not happened. So by the passing of years, what is happening is India is imitating the West, for the good or for the bad, that you understand. But at least what I am concerned about today is that we are losing the parenting practices which had grown powerful, wonderful citizens of India who could do so much for the world. Correct? When Britishers came to India, for example, you will be surprised to know that when Britishers came to India, there were not even a single beggar in India. You may consider, my God, really? So India of 2021, so many people have to beg actually, right? So, but India of the past, there was not even a single beggar. Rather, India was called a Sone ki Chidiya. That is why India attracted Portuguese, French people, Britishers, सब जगह के लोग भारत में क्यों आए? Why did they come to India? In fact, Vasco da Gama discovered America. Why? By fluke or a mistake. By a mistake, he discovered America. He was wanting to come to India. He went in wrong direction. Then he discovered America. So that was the popularity of India. That was the culture of India. That was the power of India. That was the power of responsible parenting in India, that we had such great people here on this land of India that grew up into responsible, not just responsible for themselves, but they took the responsibility of growth of the society, of the nation. And therefore we have the saying that, Sone ki chidiya. This was such a prosperous place. People were self-inspired. People were self-motivated. People were wanting, they were very dharmic. They performed their duties very well, diligently, sincerely, and very compassionate, very kind. All the good virtues and qualities you can talk about, which you want to see in your child today, you have to go back in the past and look at the history. You have to look at Indian history. You have to look at Mahabharata. What was the qualities of the people which were there? What is missing today? आखिर missing क्या है? हम बहुत कुछ, we can say this is missing, that is missing. But one of the major things is if you want to transfer a culture, the parenting is the most important thing. क्योंकि आप transfer of culture कैसे करते हो? So this parenting as a subject is so critical and of vital importance that Arjuna, while in the battlefield, he gave arguments to Lord Krishna that he said, I do not want to fight because I am seeing that if I fight now, there will be so much loss of many respectable people, sincere people, and all these males will die. And I am fearing that the parenting will not be done properly of their children. So देखो parenting का क्या महत्व होता है. हमको लगता है कि हम I always say this, that to become an engineer you give so much of time, so much to make one bridge, make one hotel, to construct an airplane, or anything like that. इतना hard work करते हो, इतना सीखते हो, you have to go to schools, colleges for so many years, decades, PhD करना पड़ता है, ये सब करना पड़ता है. You acquire so much of knowledge, then you can construct something meaningful. मैं आप सब लोगों से ये पूछना चाहता हूँ, मेरे प्यारे पेरेंट्स, आप सब लोगों से मैं पूछना चाहता हूँ, I want to ask you this question, from where does your knowledge of parenting come? क्या आपने सीखा है क्या? You want the fruit of good children. You want the fruit of responsible, behavior in the children. You want that they should become very sincere and all the good qualities you are hoping for them, and I also wish that they become like that. लेकिन तुमने किया क्या है? What have you done? What knowledge have you acquired? What learning have you done so that that fruit can come? So that that fruit, your child is like that seed, will go into become a tree, and that responsible behavior and good qualities are like the fruits. So what have you learned? From where does your parenting practices come from? क्या तुम टीवी देख करके सीखते हो? क्योंकि ज्यादातर लोग तो nowadays they are so much of time they're consuming by their what you call one-eyed guru, as we say. एक आंख वाला गुरु कौन है वो है television. So there are so many reports which I always read, and so many people come and first thing I say, sir, first one tip if I want to give. Generally, I never give tips. I avoid giving any tip to anybody. I don't want shortcuts to be given to anybody. मगर एक tip जो मेरे मुंह से निकल जाता है, अगर parents मेरे से कुछ पूछते हैं, तो मैं ये बोलता हूँ, सर टीवी को बंद करो. क्योंकि ये इतना फास्ट वर्किंग टिप है कि कोई पता हो ना पता हो, you know or don't know, it will always work. So nowadays there is so much of report that the children are spending, how many hours your children spend on the television, that you can calculate actually. You can calculate. This is one exercise I give you after this program gets over. One of my request to you is you please calculate the amount of hours your child spends with television. और क्या क्या देखता है ये थोड़ा आप लिख लेना एक बार समझने के लिए बस उसको बोलना नहीं, जाके बच्चे को मत बोलो, आप खाली ऑब्जर्व करके अपने एक किसी नोटबुक पे या फिर किसी मोबाइल में कुछ लिख लो कि दिस मेनी आवर्स एंड नाउ यू ओनली टेल वेदर इट इज गुड और बैड. एक एक्सरसाइज है. So as a small tip, I always tell to parents that close your television, क्योंकि many in many families there is a practice that पूरे दिन भर टीवी चलता है. In many families this is going on. Only when they are sleeping, that is the only time the television is off. Otherwise whole day the television is going on. While they are eating also television is going on. While that the mother is doing something else, the child is there, television always the television is on only. बहुत सारे घरों में ऐसा होता है. तो बच्चा आपका देखता तो रहता है, टेलीविजन में वही करता रहता है. और ये उसको लगता है कि I should not learn from the parents, I should learn from where? From this one-eyed guru. So instead of that, there can be better parenting practices. I'm going to talk about that. I'm just giving an example of it. So from where do you get the parenting practices? आप अपना टीवी बंद करके ऐसे चैनल्स पे जुड़िए तो आपको एंटरटेनमेंट के साथ साथ थोड़ा एजुकेशन भी देते हैं, क्योंकि अगर आप नहीं सीखेंगे तो आपके बच्चे को आप कैसे राइट वैल्यूज दोगे. सो मैं हमेशा ये बोलता हूं, I always say this to the parents that if you want to raise your teens, first you have to raise yourself. Your habits, as Mukteshwar Rao sir very beautifully said, and I am going to continue that topic further. आज मैं आपको explain करना चाहता हूँ. इस प्रोग्राम को हम 2 भाग में देंगे. We are going to give this program in 2 parts. Today I am going to speak about the concept of mirroring. हम कुछ समय के बाद ये बताने वाले. In details I'll discuss this, and then I will introduce to you the 4 parenting practices, and I will also talk about the first 2 parenting practices and what impact they make on your child. And when you come back to me in the next program next month, then there we'll discuss about what is the goal of parenting. Next program we'll talk about that. What is the goal of parenting, what we should aim at, and then with that goal, what I'll also discuss the next 2 practices in the next month, and then with that goal of parenting we'll discuss out of these 4 which is the best practice. और खाली external practice ही नहीं, then I will take it further. I'll introduce to you about parenting attitudes in the next month. So my dear parents, I request you start gaining knowledge about parenting from the right sources. We are here distributing one of the best available knowledge. We are condensing from the Indian Vedic texts as well as condensing from the current modern psychology, so as to help you at one place get a lot of wisdom. We are also calling the people of great achievement from India, so that they can also help you and you can learn from them. Now I will begin my today's program, and I hope that you will have a good journey. And please keep watching, keep learning. If you have a notebook or something, take note of it. क्योंकि इसमें आप सीखने के लिए आए हैं, आपको entertainment मिलेगा. I will talk about stories also. सर ने भी बहुत अच्छा story बताया था. But you have to learn something. And I request you, few things are best to note down and reflect upon. सोचिए इस बारे में जो मैं बोलूंगा, इसलिए एक नोटबुक पेन ले लोगे, अपने बच्चे को ही मत सिखाओ, खुद भी सीखो. ये पहला चीज मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ. यदि if you really want to live your life properly, don't think that your education is over when you came out from the college at the age of 22. उसके बाद कुछ भी सीखना नहीं है. जी नहीं, आपको even for your job you have to continue learning nowadays. In each job you have to continue learning. Similarly, in life you have to continue learning. So the learner's attitude, the attitude that I have to continue learning throughout my life, for various responsibilities at various times in my life, I may have to learn particularly. So अगर आपके बच्चे इस समय 7 साल के हैं, 8 साल के हैं, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, like that. Your children are in this age group of say 6 to 18, 20, 22, 23. This is the best place we have come. Every month, एक शाम dedicate करो और learning the knowledge of parenting teenagers for wholesome success. This is my request to you. I continue my program further. Let's talk about the first thing which I want to talk about in this raising responsibilities. I made a small presentation for you. so that it will be helpful and it can actually give you a great insight, as well as you also watch something entertaining. Let's go ahead. So what this program is about: best parenting style, what a parent should adopt for raising responsible teenagers. I want to ask you this question. Have you seen it in your home? Have you seen this in your home, that when the children are very small, what do? They always copy their parents. In fact, how do you teach them how to speak their first letter? So the child does not know what is language. Child does not know what is language, but he knows how to imitate the parent. So the mother or the father say, "Beta, papa, mama," they speak like that, right? You must your own experience we can see, and the child merely imitates the mouth of the parents. Okay, Aisa, okay, like this, right? So for the child, imitation is the way of learning. Correct? Everything the child learns by imitation only. The beginning, first 5 years especially, usko kuch aur samajh nahi aata. From 5-6 years onwards, then he may start learning little more consciously, intently, right? But please understand, my dear parents, that your children are having the gift given by nature, that they are expert at copying their parents. ये बहुत अच्छा न्यूज भी हो सकता है आपके लिए. This can be a very good news for you, and this can be a bad news also. So why? Because it gives you a very big responsibility on your shoulders or on your head, whatever you say, because your children are watching you 24 hours. It is not that whenever you are formally teaching them that now I am going to teach my child, it's only then that they are going to learn from you. They are going to learn from you 24 hours, whether you are conscious of it or whether you are unconscious of it. But they are always going to learn from you. It's not that whatever you want to teach them, that is what they will copy. No. Even things which you don't want to teach them, they will copy from you. They will look at you. For a child, the father, the mother are like God. Especially I'm talking about children, small children. I'm not talking about teenagers. But because I want to teach you a principle, I am first explaining a concept. Then I will talk about teenage parenting, right? So the point is, your children are gifted by nature to imitate you, copy you for their good. Why? Because otherwise they cannot do anything in this world unless they are good at copying. वो copycat hai. See, the type of clothes the mother will wear, the daughter will start wearing like that only. She will want to decorate herself the way the mother is decorating. अरे आप so देख सकते हो. If the mother is sprinkling perfume, the small daughter also thinks this is good. So she will take the perfume, she will also sprinkle. आप देख सकते. If the mother is putting lipstick, even small child, the daughter, I'm not telling you a son, the daughter also starts putting lipstick. Why? Because she feels this is what is good. If my mother is doing something, it has to be good, she copies that. Now, if the mother is wearing mini skirt, then the daughter, what is the daughter going to do? If the mother is going to wear jeans, what is the daughter going to do? तो जब बड़ी हो जाएगी, jeans ही पहनेगी या फिर पता नहीं क्या आजकल तो there are very short clothes. So where do the children learn from? They learn from their parents. Not just what you want to teach them, but also what you don't want to teach them. I always say this. Please hear this attentively. शायद इससे आपको कुछ समझ में और ज्यादा आएगा. एक एग्जांपल के द्वारा समझाना चाहता हूँ. Having a child at home, this is an analogy. Having a child at home is like getting a CCTV camera. CCTV camera पता है आपको? Like getting a CCTV camera in your home. तो 24 घंटा रिकॉर्ड करता है. You want to catch the thief, what do? You take a CCTV camera so that as soon as somebody is entering, you can watch. Hey, yeah, now you caught the person. Similarly, the thief inside us is caught very quickly. By whom? By our children. So that is why I told my dear parents, that's very, very important. Please hear it again. That to raise your children, you need to raise yourself. The quality of the parent will determine the quality of the children. The whatever virtues are there in the parents, they can be transferred to their children. And if there are vices, unfortunately, in the parents, those same vices will be magnified in their children. देखो, गुड चीज, अच्छी चीज का ट्रांसफर हाफ होता है. याद रखो इसको, प्रिंसिपल्स है. If you have some good qualities, half of it you can find in your child. If you have some bad, then double of it will go inside of your children. देखो, ये एक रूल होता है. मैथमेटिक्स आप बोलते हैं ना, मैथमेटिक्स ऑफ पेरेंटिंग. टेलिंग यू अबाउट मैथमेटिक्स so that it, you will remember it. पहली बात याद रखो, your child is like a CCTV camera watching you all the time, even doing good as well as doing bad. If there is good in you, the mathematics is 50% of it. Half of it will go to your child. And if there is bad in you, double of it will go to your child. Please remember it. So वही मैं बोल रहा हूँ, if the mother is wearing jeans, शायद बच्ची क्या पहनेगी? बरमूडा पहनेगी. Right? Half of that. So you have to decide what you want. If you want good children, you want responsible children, what you have to do, you should decide. भाई बच्चा आपका है, आप उसका क्या भविष्य चाहते हो वो आपके हाथ में है. Right? So if you want some good future, you want the child to have certain good qualities, double it in your practice. वो double जब आपके practice में आएगा, उसका half, that means full उधर जाएगा. किधर? आपके बच्चे में जाएगा. ये बात तो समझने की, इसके उदाहरण हम देने वाले हैं बहुत सारे लाइव ब्यूटीफुल एग्जांपल्स के साथ. मैं आगे थोड़ी देर के बाद आपको समझाने वाला हूँ ये सब, है ना. सो इसलिए बने रहिएगा. मैं 7:15 तक बोलने वाला हूँ, another half an hour 40 minutes. उसके बाद क्वेश्चन आंसर. You have any questions? I'm very happy to answer them. We'll answer them from 7:20 or so. So please be patient. You can make notes also, as I said. Very critical thing, something which you can share with everyone, and especially very critical for your children's growth. So जैसे कि मैंने बोला, if the mother is putting lipstick, the small daughter will start putting. If the father is very thankful to the mother, so he is grateful, he's showing the quality of gratitude within the house. He always makes a point to thank. He's courteous, right? He expresses his gratitude. He values the presence of people in his life. कि postman को या फिर auto rickshaw वाले को उन्होंने thanks बोला, right? He's grateful. You will find you don't have to teach your child anything. Your child will learn that quality of gratitude from you. And the opposite also he will learn. If you have a habit of using slang, as the Rao sir was also telling about it. So if you have a habit of using slang out of anger or something, frustration, so your children will also very easily catch it. तुम half दोगे, वो पूरा full करके देगा. That's how it will be, So many times, parents come and tell me, "Arey, how my children are like that?" So I tell them, "Sir, आप अपने आप को देखिए, शायद he has learned something from you." Now you may say, "But I never taught these things to my child." That's what I'm telling, sir. That's what I'm telling, ma'am. You don't have to teach anything. The child will copy you. So therefore, the concept here is, please see this on your slides. The concept is called as walking mirrors. Please hear this. Your child is like a walking mirror. He or she is going to mirror you. आपके अंदर जो है वो रिफ्लेक्ट होगा आपके बच्चे में. This is very true till the age of 12 or 13. उसके बाद क्या होता है, I'm just going to explain that also. Right? It is very true for small children, for little elder children also. This is true because whatever they have learned from you in their childhood, that cannot be erased very quickly. That cannot be erased very quickly. Even when they grow up, at the age of 12, the process by mother nature starts happening. What is that? That is called as, so I'm not saying specifically age of 12. It can be 10, it can be 11, it can be 12, 13, somewhere in that time. There is a process by mother nature which begins in the child, psychology of the child. What is that? If you heard my previous programs, I explained that. And what is that process called as? That process is called as individuation. So the individuation is a process by which the child's psychological aspects, a mind, is separating from the parents. He or she is making now one's own individuality. He or she is making one's own separate value system from the parents, which is required for the child because he's going to become an adult one day. He has to become a separate, complete individual unit. right? Separate from you, right or not? So for that, Mother Nature gives the psychological process which is called as individuation in psychology. Right? So जब वो बड़ा होगा तब वो totally imitate नहीं करेगा आपके behavior को, because now he will learn more from the friends and media and everything else. But still, what he learned earlier remains the basis of his thinking process. इसीलिए मैं कह रहा हूं, there is one parenting author which says that Mother Nature has given us 12 years. Please hear. Mother Nature has given us 12 years before our children enter into teenage. And then he asks the question from the parents, is it less? Are these 12 years less that you cannot make such a secure bond of relationship with your child that even when the child goes into teenage, he or she follows your value system? So we have sufficient time. 12 साल बहुत बड़े होते हैं, 13th ईयर लगने में 12 साल होते हैं, टीनेज होने में 12 years are there. Are they less? Are they less for the parent? And these 12 years are, he is going to almost blindly copy you, especially till the age of 8, 9 or 10. वो पूरा blindly copy करता है तुमको. Then what is the point? You have such a valuable time with your child. You can teach such principles which will become the substratum, the foundation of the further activities of the child. Even if he comes to meet some bad influence, say bad association, bad friends or bad media, he will have developed the intelligence by your parenting, and he will be able to question it. He will be able to reject what is wrong and only take the right. Right? So आपके पास 12 साल कम नहीं होते. Now, if your child is already grown up, what to do? No problem. You still understand that he will observe you still. He will still observe you. He or she will still observe you. So if your behavior is, as sir said, role modeling, आप ये देखो, you want to see a particular quality in your child, you know the concept that he is a walking mirror, then what you should do is the question for you. See, again I'll show you the slide. If you understand that your child is a walking mirror and you want to see a particular quality, let's say responsibility in your child, what should you do? The answer is with you. You should see it in yourself. You should have it in yourself. You should reflect it in yourself. So very, very critical. So that is why even if he's become a teenager, he will still observe you. Correct? Of course, if you have done some wrong parenting practices in the past, it will take more effort to teach him now. Right? If you have done right parenting practices in the past, it will be easier for you to teach him now. But in both cases, he will learn from you. He or she. I'm saying gender is not important here. The child will listen to you, will learn from you more by seeing your behavior and less by hearing your words. He or she will observe you and learn from you more than you will formally tell him or tell her or dictate or whatever. So that is the first very critical thing. अभी आपके लिए एक और चीज है, स्लाइड्स पे देखिए, बहुत क्रिटिकल. मैं आपको समझाना चाहता हूं, अब इसको समझिए. चिल्ड्रन ग्रो इन द इमेज ऑफ देयर पेरेंट्स. इससे बहुत बड़ी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी आती है. सी दिस फोटो इट इज इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू. See, in this family, the mother and the father are smoking. Look at this. They are smoking. Now, what? And this small, tiny girl, what is she doing? She is bringing these cigarette packets. Now, what do you think will the child learn? Even if the child, when he comes to the teenage or even before that or whatever, you can keep telling to the child, beta, smoking is dangerous. Smoking is dangerous. Beta, smoking is dangerous. What will the child do? He or she will not listen to your words. He will observe your behavior. And he or she will say, Arey, if my parents can smoke, why can't I? They will not do it in front of you, dear parents. देखो, बच्चों को बहुत होशियारी होती है. तुम्हारे सामने नहीं करेगी, लेकिन बड़ा हो गया, पैसा मिल गया, फिर देखो. You cannot control the behavior of your children. Don't think that मैं control कर सकता हूँ या सकती हूँ. मैं कर क्या सकता हूँ, सकती हूँ. Mirroring concept is what we can understand. That if I follow the good quality, good behavior, the role modeling, then I can naturally see it happening in my child. So you can see in that family what is happening, because the both mother and father are smoking. The child is very much expected that the child will start smoking unless and until they get a very strong role model outside the family, which can happen. Let us say a teacher, or a friend, or somebody. So who is a very strong role model for them, they will not be able to question the habit of their parents, and they may become the smokers also. This is very, very common. देखो, आपको एक story सुनाना चाहता हूँ मैं. Please hear the story. Once there were two parrots, right? There were two parrots, and the king was the owner of this parrot, and he was wanting to know that what is the way to teach the right behavior to the parrots, because parrots can imitate. Parrots can imitate. We all know parrots can imitate. Time, time, time. They say time, time, but you can also make them speak the human language. Right? You all know that. You can train them. So the king was very much wanting to know, Akhir, what is the way to make a good behavior in the people. So there was one very good minister. So he came over and said, "Sir, I will teach you, but you give me some time. 6 mahine chahiye. In 6 months, I can tell you very clearly how to teach good behavior or a bad behavior to a person." So बोले, "Okay, yes. Tell me what should I do?" He said, "ये जो दो parrot है ना आपके, these two parrots you give me. And 6 months के बाद में 2 parrots आपको वापस लाके दूंगा और आप समझ जाएंगे. You will understand yourself." So what did this servant did, or this minister did? So he took one parrot and he left it in the family of the Sai, the butcher who cuts the flesh, meat, etc. Right? In the family of the butcher. And the other parrot, he took and he went and he kept it in the family of one very sage, a sage sadhu. In Hindi we say sadhu, right? So a saintly man, saintly family. And what happened? 6 months later, the minister brought both of the parrots back to the king. And what happened? Very surprisingly, although initially both these parrots had the same condition, but later after 6 months of return, what happened to them? One of the parrots who returned from the butcher shop, he was constantly saying, "Maar dunga, kaat do, maar do, phod do," like very slang words, very cruel words. And the king said, "How come this parrot has become like that?" And the other parrot who was in the saintly family, he was naturally that parrot started telling, "Namaste, my dear king, please sit down, please take water." No, so very nice words. He started telling some Sanskrit shlokas, some good, subhashitam, all that. Very good, good speech. And this king was very surprised. "Ray, what did you do? What did you do, my dear servant, my dear minister? What did you do? I am surprised. One has become like, sometimes in movie, there is a twin child, and one, they get separated. All of you parents have seen such movies. So they get separated in the fair, and one goes into the, Daku family, some family which, where there are dacoits. Another goes into a very saintly family. So what happens? One becomes Ram, another becomes Shyam. Something like that, Ram and Shyam, although they were twins. So same way, these two parrots, that parrot who took 6 months continuously observing the butcher, he learned the slang language of the butcher. And the parrot who was continuously 6 months observing and being in the family of a saintly person, he also started speaking saintly good, things. Now, dear parents, it has a very great meaning and understanding for all of you. देखो, ये मिररिंग का कॉन्सेप्ट आपको ढंग से समझना है, क्योंकि this is what is the critical aspect of parenting is all about. See, your children, if the parents also can imitate the behavior, right? They have not developed such intelligence also, but just imitating behavior, you could see the difference in their, speech. In the same manner, in a saintly family where saintly practices will be going on, you can expect a saintly child to be grown. Whereas if you find a family where there are other practices, there are like the father or the mother have their own issues in life, where they have their own, greed or lust or anything else to, their bad things to be taken care of still, then you can expect that the children will also grow in a similar manner. So it is very important to note that इसके आगे एक स्लाइड है, आप इसको देखिए. It's very important to note that children grow in the image of their parents, and also if you want to know who you are, look at your child. अगर आपको वास्तविकता में देखना है आप कौन है ना, आपके बच्चों में देखो. आपके बच्चे आपको बता सकते हैं आप कौन है. आप आपके बारे में कुछ भी सोचेंगे, you may think that I am like this, I am like that, but by seeing the children which you are growing, what qualities they have, what characteristics they have, you can understand about yourself. Because आप अपने आप से कुछ छुपा सकते हैं, बच्चे से नहीं छुपा सकते. You may consider yourself as, I am still very good, although I have this wrong, but no problem, only I know it or whatever. Your children will grow in your image. So if you want to know who you are, you should look at the behavior of your children. Correct? I do agree that there is an aspect of after they have grown up, they can also be spoiled. I do agree with that. But my dear parents, please understand this. If in your 12 years, 13 years, 15 years, 20 years or whatever of parenting, you could not grow that child to have the independent thoughtfulness to know what is right and wrong, and to have that inherent inner desire to follow the right, then you are a failure as a parent. मैं ये पूछता हूं आपसे कि अगर इतने सालों में आप अपने बच्चों को समझा ही नहीं पाई, you have not been able to develop that love bond with your child, that he or she now already knows what is right and wrong and has an inherent desire from within. Parents को please करने के लिए नहीं, not so that he can or she can please the parents, but because it is the dharma, it is the right thing to do, or it is to be avoided, the wrong thing to be avoided. Because of that reason, from within they have not been able to get that. आपने as a parent किया क्या है? So probably you are also not doing that. You may not have the right behavior, you may not have got the right qualities within you, and that is why you are not able to transfer it. जैसे कि हम बोलते हैं ना कि नीम के बगीचे में नीम का ही पेड़ उगता है और आम के बगीचे में आम का पेड़ उगता है. In a garden where there are neem trees, in a place where there are neem trees, neem tree will grow. Right? उसका बच्चा नीम के जैसा बनेगा. Right? The parents, whatever the qualities of parents are, that type of child only will grow. So similarly, if you find your child going astray from the right path, it is probably because you yourself may not have that inherent quality of doing the right thing. Always sticking to the dharma, the good qualities mentioned in the, the dharmic behavior as per the Indian tradition. Correct? So अगर आपने है ही नहीं वो, तो आप transfer कैसे करोगे? And that is why, please note, this whole concept of mirroring gives a very big responsibility on the parents. And that's why within Vedic Shastra, to have a child, first of all, you should have got an attitudinal detox. Because this is what the very important responsibility of raising children is. If we can have one generation of right parenting, we can change the shape of this country, India. Just one generation of right parenting. You don't require two. Because automatically what will happen, because you raise right type of children, you can have the future will be same. The trees आपने change कर दिया. Please note this and understand this. इतना importance होता है. Shastra also gives it very great importance, and even practical sense also it is very important. Psychology gives it very importance. You should also take it as very important. So according to therefore Indian tradition, it is said that before you have children, you should have attitudinal detox. आपके wrong attitudes को purge out करना पड़ेगा. You have to give it up, and you have to adopt the right attitudes and practice them diligently. Because now you are getting a CCTV camera inside your house. So please note this first. If this principle is understood, now I will tell you about the 4 types of parenting practices which are very, very critical. And again, what we will understand through this is that these 4 parenting practices, they are varying in terms of the development of the child. What is the child learning? But before that, I have a case study for you which will be very interesting, and let us discuss it in a few minutes. The case study of Maharaj Shivaji. Shivaji Maharaj is a great personality. So what was his parenting? How did his parents treat him? Unko kaise bada kiya? What is the way that actually he was grown? He was grown, of course, by his mother Jijabai and his father Shahaji. So how was he grown can actually teach us a very great lessons for us. I have 5 lessons which we can draw from his parenting. So let us talk very quickly about it. So as I already told that Shivaji Maharaj was, he was born in 1630 in Pune, in the, the Shivaneri fort. And his mother's name was Jijabai, his father's name was Shahaji. And both his parents were very devoted to the Indian dharmic conduct. And they were like from the Kshatriya Maratha family, right? Both the mother and the father, Jijabai also, as well as Shahaji also. Shahaji was a very great, powerful general. And of course, he was under the Mughals at that time, and he was sent in Bangalore. He was sent to Bangalore to rule. For the first few years, I think it was 6 years. The first 6-7 years, Shivaji grew up only with the mother, not with the father. And the mother was the primary caretaker at that time. So what did the mother do during those 5-6 years? So of course there was threat always, and Shivaji's family had to always run from one fort to another in escape, from the army, the enemy army, etc. So he had to face challenges, and those challenges were also very wonderful for his growth. But the mother's parenting style. Let us learn from her something. So Jijabai, first of all, gave a lot of affection to Shivaji, lot of motherly affection. She was very affectionate lady, and because of that, the secure bond of attachment comes between the child and the mother. And then Jijabai, every evening, she would, from very early childhood, she would make the Shivaji sit down every evening and spend personal time with Shivaji. What she would do in the personal time, parents मेरे से बोलते हैं मैं personal time spend करना चाहता हूँ, करूँ क्या उसमें, मैं करूँ क्या, तो खाली खेलते रहते हैं. But that is not the thing. Only playing will not help your child. Of course, playing is good for the child. The parents can also play. This is another thing which they can do. Please learn from this. Jijabai, every evening, she would sit down, take out the Mahabharata, take out the Ramayana, take out the Bhagavad Puran, and would read every day the stories of great heroes like Krishna, Rama, Bhima, Arjuna, right? All of these people. She would every day evening read with the child, and the child would read and would be excited by the valor, by the heroic activities of these, great people. And she impressed upon her the certain values from these books, right? As well as at other times, she would recite very devotional songs from the Bhakti saints at that time, which were like Namdev and Eknath of that century, 17th century. So these were the saints at that time. She would spontaneously keep singing those songs. So the Shivaji Maharaj, he did not grow up by seeing YouTube channel. He did not grow up by looking at the Gmail or Insta or this and that. Rather, he grew up with hearing the stories of Bhagavad Puran, Mahabharata, Ramayana personally from her mother, right? And also she would be a very good role model of the various virtuous qualities herself, and that is what Shivaji Maharaj was seeing those few first 6 years, as I told you. Right? As well as I said, that he would be going from one place to another. So the mother was very, very caring to the child. She was not overly protective, who would not allow her son to go and meet the other people. So the Shivaji Maharaj, from the very early childhood, he would meet many people, even very poor, because he was from the Raj Gharana, but he would meet very poor people and be with them, play with them, have friends with them. So he saw the reality of the world. It helped him to develop social skills. He was able to see that, okay, there is poverty in this world also, there is oppression by Mughals also. The reality of the world was known to him. He was not growing in the ivory towers. Like many times you make your child so much in comfort, he does not know what is reality of the world only. So that was not the case with the Jijabai's parenting. So then, of course, at the age of 7 or so, Shahaji, they were able to meet Shahaji, his father. Shivaji was able to meet his father, Shahaji. Along with mother, he went to Bangalore and they stayed there till the age of 12. Right? Within that time, his father paid attention to Shivaji, and his whatever natural talents Shivaji had, Shahaji, his father, fostered those talents. He brought the best quality teachers, and they were enhancing those natural aptitudes which Shivaji had. And he became very good at horse driving, making the plan of the war, whatever he was interested in. And he was naturally interested in all these things. because one thing is, he always heard his father's role model example. His father was also a great Kshatriya, right? So he heard his example of his father. He heard from his mother the great qualities of the Kshatriya kings, etc. From the childhood. So naturally he had interest. It was not that a particular subject was forced upon him. He naturally had interest and he learned it with interest himself, right? And the learning was fun for him. Not that the learning was like a great hard work for him. Like unlike today, when the parents keep pushing to coding kar le, if it is not his interest, how that fellow will learn it? It will be such a heavy thing for that person. Learning is the real fun in life. Learning should be such wonderful, such strong, such an environment that the child should stop playing. Please understand this. If your learning practices, your teaching, your education is not in such a way that the child can stop playing, that you have somewhere something has gone wrong. Because the taste of learning is much more than playing. That is what actually I'm writing a book on teaching also later. I meet teachers also. I tell them this. Actually, teachers can make things so interesting. But of course, the subject should be according to the interest of the child also. Both. So this is what we see. Then further, what happened? So Shivaji, he learned how to use sword, how to use different weapons and wrestling and all the natural things which he was very interested in. He also learned Sanskrit and he himself started reading books. Previously, mother used to read. Now he himself started reading in the teenage. Right? Now he himself started reading in the teenage the books like Ramayana, Mahabharata, etc. So one very good thing was he got the right role models in his life. He got the right heroes in his life. What were the right heroes? Like Krishna, Rama, Bhima, Arjun, those great powerful people who are very virtuous also and very powerful Kshatriyas also, heroic kings. So they were like his heroes, and therefore he always aspired to be like them. And as well as Jijabai, he had seen the political intrigue in which his father was killed. So she always had the desire that my son should never be under some Mughal rule, serving some Mughal king. He should establish an independent state. So she gave that idea from a very childhood to the ideal, from the very childhood to the child. And the child was also very much wanting to protect his countrymen, his citizens, Maharashtra, the people. So he was very much eager to do that himself as well. And as he grew up, what he did? He actually did all that. His parents were the right role models for him, who could teach him, he could mirror their qualities. The bravery of his father, the virtuousness of his mother, all of that combined together, and also the dharmic values which he learned right in the beginning became his strength in the greatest difficulties which he had to face later on in his life. And of course, that he became a very great personality. That's why his case study is being taken, so that the right parenting practices can be learned from this. So what can we learn from this? Think about it. I narrated the entire the parenting way the Shivaji's parenting was done. What can you learn from it, my dear parents? Reflect करो, सोचो इसके ऊपर. मैं इसमें से 5 लेसन आपको तुरंत बताना चाहता हूँ, लेकिन आप सोचिए इसके बारे में. सोचिए क्या इसमें से आपने सीखा. What you can apply it in your own parenting with your child, whether the age is 6 or 7, whether the age is 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. If practices remain same, I told you, if you have already developed the right practices previously, it will be easier for you to do it now. Easier for the child to learn now from you. But if not, then it will take a little more time. But the point remains the same, right? So let us see the parenting practices. What are the lessons from his parenting? 5 lessons. Number 1, giving right heroes to emulate from the childhood. देखो parents, मैं आपसे बोल रहा हूँ कि आपके बच्चों को right heroes चाहिए. पहले तो मम्मी पापा right heroes होते चाहिए, right role model होने चाहिए. But the second is other heroes. Whom do you glorify? What does the child take as, yeah, I want to be like this person? Who are they? So बच्चे को जब तुम टीवी दिखाता रहता है, जब मूवी दिखाता रहता है टेलीविजन पे, YouTube पे, whatever, then that person will have such kind of role models. So I don't want to name any hero or heroine, but that recent narcotics case with Mumbai has exposed the character of these all, the people, hero, heroines, etc. So in their real life also, they do so many things. Like most of the movies today, there is so much of smoking, boozing, drinking, vulgar things. sometimes, it is very difficult for the entire family to sit together to watch the entire movie. Because somewhere or other, either the father starts feeling, my daughter should not see this, or the mother starts feeling, my son should not see this. Because too difficult. So ऐसे चीजों को दिखाते रहोगे, तो expose करते रहोगे, तो क्या सीखेगा तुम्हारा बेटा, क्या सीखेगी तुम्हारी बेटी? So that is why first in the beginning earlier I told, the first tip which you can learn, अगर आप हरी में हो तो कम से कम पहले स्विच ऑफ करना सीखो अपने टेलीविजन को, अपने यूट्यूब वगैरह इन सब चीजों को. So right type of entertainment should be there, which should be enlightening, which should be enlivening to the child. So first of all, we learn is the right heroes have to be given. If you give them the wrong heroes, वो वैसा ही बनेगा. तो बाद में उसको कुछ भी बोल दो, the person will always keep thinking about them. I have to become like this, I have to become a greedy person or a lusty person or an angry person. We don't want our children to become like them. So whatever qualities you want in them, you should have the right role models. Talk about the life history of various people, right? So that therefore I suggest that even the many movies should also come out which are teaching about the right heroes, etc. But ये film industry तो हमारे हाथ में है नहीं, क्योंकि there is so much of racket around all that. So even many of the Arjuna team members also, they actually want to bring out short movies, and I'm sure within few years we are actually going to shoot short movies on the values, different case studies like Shivaji, etc. So that your children can have those values also, entertainment also. But till then, you can read such things with them. You can animate yourself. You can have a drama inside your own home. The mother and the father can enact such things, and the child will be having such great fun. बच्चे को टीवी और यूट्यूब और ये मोबाइल का आदत क्यों लगता है? Because the parents are not willing to spend time in an entertaining way with the children. So my book I am just releasing this month, and आप तक वो मई में पहुंच जाएगा. You can buy this from May month onwards, because now we are going to edit it and etc. So April is the ending, and in the May month somewhere you can get this book. It is giving you beautiful ways of parenting. So there are some around 8 or 9 chapters in that, very beautifully written with lot of wisdom in that. So you can book it. If your children are in teenage already, I would suggest that you can take this book, Art of Concentration, Time Management. You can read that book with them. आप उनके साथ ये read कर सकते हो, है ना? So because it will help them to receive the right values, and I have written it in a very entertaining way. मैंने कोई boring way में उसको नहीं लिखा है. आप as a parent, you can even teach, you can spend time in a very healthy way, it should be fun. It should not be like अरे बच्चे को ऐसा पहाड़ हो गया. It should be like a fun. So you can do that also. That I'm just giving an example. So right heroes देने चाहिए अपने बच्चों को, तभी तो वो right role models लेकर के आगे बढ़ेंगे. First, second, let's look at this slide. Second is here that being a role model of values which one wants to see in the child. So I already told you, just like if you want to make your child responsible, you should be responsible. You want to make your child considerate, virtuous, you should be having that. And I gave you the mathematics also. Half of good values, double of the bad things. You should know that mathematics. Next is the letting the child overcome challenges and teaching discipline. को बच्चे को पैम्पर नहीं करना चाहिए, रियल लाइफ जीने देना चाहिए. Let the child observe the challenges. Let the child see the society. Only rich, only richness or only wealth if he sees, he will think that he will not be able to value what you are giving. समझ रहे? Unless he also sees, okay, this is the reality of this world. There is poverty. This is this, and one has to work hard to get money. उसको जब तुम सिखाएगा ही नहीं, तुम देखने ही नहीं देंगे, चैलेंज ही नहीं देखने देंगे, तो फिर he will not be able to appreciate the values of the things which you are giving, the valuables you are giving. Child will not be able to appreciate the value of the valuables unless and until he or she also sees the challenges of this world. I am not saying put them in the challenge. That also is required certain times, but not that put them into poverty, but let them see the world. So one of the best things is there has to be social work along with children. Like there are many, of course, maybe 90%, 80% or more schools are simply very theoretical, but there are few concept schools which have a compulsory social work within. Actually, children can learn a lot from arts, from drama, from social work, so many things. Just like Shivaji learned a lot just by interacting with the world, which is necessary. So as a parent, you can do some social work activity, charitable activity. जाकर दिखाओ, उसके साथ करो. Let them also do it. तो right values भी सीखेंगे, and they will also see the challenges in this world, and then you will get a lot of abundant opportunity to teach further. So there are many good activities parents can do along with children. I'm just suggesting few here. And all of this will lead to a very great, powerful, parenting. And also teach discipline. Discipline will be a subject which I'll tell you mostly in the next webinar when you will come. Next, allowing the child to follow his passion. This is also very important. I think this will require more discussion, and we'll do it surely in the next webinar also. And another thing is that helping the child to frame right dharmic purpose. देखो बचपन से जीजाबाई gave her an ideal, gave Shivaji an ideal, and that ideal he followed. Dharmic purpose. She always used to repeat to her son, Jijaji, that just like Krishna killed Kamsa, Rama killed Ravan, Shivaji, you also should destroy the wicked and should uphold the dharma. So this ideal always went inside Shivaji. And therefore, similarly, parents must have themselves a purpose to live for. Do you have a dharmic purpose to live for? If you have a dharmic purpose to live for, your children will easily get it from you. Just like the Shahaji and the Jijabai, they were role modeling those values also, which they were telling. Right? So dharmic purpose is what is the responsibility of a parent is. अगर बच्चों को धार्मिक purpose दिया ना, even teenage के turbulence में भी, even with lot of turbulence and all dirty things in the society, he or she will follow the dharmic purpose. Which I can 100% assure you. The thing is, it has to come organically, not in one day. It will not come in one day. It has to come organically, and the children should see their role models. Parents as well as some other role models outside the family also should be there. Right? So when they're there, then your children can actually get that. Let's talk a little more, and then we can have question answers. I'll just introduce this framework to you, and this is a framework which was made by Bombrind, she actually talked about the 4 types of parenting style, and so on the x-axis you see here there is love, on the y-axis there is discipline. So there are 2 duties which a parent has to balance. So there has to be love as well as discipline together. If your child is only receiving your love, then what will happen? He or she will get pampered. Right? He or she will not learn the right values. So वो pamper हो जाएगा. Only love, not possible. If you give only discipline, बेचारा डर जाएगा. You don't give the love, but only you give a discipline, then that will lead to great fear in the hearts of the children. So if you give only love, you do pampering. If you give only discipline, you give atrocity on your children. Right? So both combination, a healthy combination is required of the 2. What is the right balance? So with this principle, on x-axis we plot the love, on the y-axis we plot the discipline. There can be various parenting styles. And we can broadly categorize them into 4 parenting styles. What are the 4 parenting styles? So on one, so you can see this on your slide. So you will see that first type of style is called as authoritarian. देखिए अगर आप notes ले रहे हो तो ये बहुत अच्छा है यहाँ पे. Authoritarian, where there is less love and more discipline. So love is going lesser and lesser, but discipline is increasing. So that is called as authoritarian. I'll explain all of these to you in the next webinar as you are coming to us. I'm going to explain in details to you all this. Then there is authoritative. What is authoritative? So you have more of love also, more of discipline also. Both sides are being taken together in a balanced way. It is authoritative. Then there is permissive. What is permissive? There is more of love, but practically no discipline only. So basically you're going to pamper the child, or be permissive. As I think Mukteshwar Rao sir was also talking about this permissive style. Nowadays, a lot of permissive parents are also there. So then there is another where there is neither love nor discipline. So practically you are not doing any duty to the child. So that is becoming neglectful. So let me tell you in short about the first one of them, which is authoritarian. Let's look at it. It will be very interesting. I'll give you one case study also. It will be very interesting to learn this. So while I am discussing this, please pay note and attention that you can learn this and see whether your parenting style is becoming like this. And what is the result of following this parenting style? I am not saying all of them are correct. No, some of them are correct, some of them are wrong. Let's talk further about authoritarian parenting. So have an eye on whether you are doing these practices and whether they are right or wrong. Please try to take note of this. Okay. So the first one is authoritarian parenting. What do the authoritarian parents do? So I want to give you a picture. Let's take a picture. Think about a company in which you have a very, a boss, which is who is very eager to see the results coming, from from his subordinates. He really wants his subordinates to become very successful and result oriented person. He wants to get results, from his subordinates, and therefore, he wants to give them all the different things like, education, training, etc. But he believes in giving instructions, one way communication. He doesn't believe in participation from the subordinates. He believes in giving instruction, and the subordinates should, just totally, completely obediently follow the parents, the manager. So he feels like that. So manager feels that my subordinates should totally obey me, completely obey me, whatever my instruction is, because I know the best. I have been in the company for a long time. Is new people, their subordinates. I want their success. I want the results to come up. So who is the best person to follow? He only. That's what his belief system is. So he is ready to, spend the right, the time in training, etc. But he always wants that whatever he says should be totally followed from the side of the subordinate. They cannot question the manager. They have to follow the manager. There is no participative discussion, etc. The rules and policies are made by just the manager. Only one-way communication. And the subordinates, they always feel, I am not being heard. मेरे को सुन नहीं रहा है manager. बोलता है, थोड़ा कड़ाक से करता है, So that is what is authoritarian style of managing is, right? Just like there can be authoritarian managers, there can be authoritarian parents. So what are the characteristics? Look at the slide. Here is where they are very interested in the success of the children. Obviously, parent hai to bhai chahta hai na. He wants the child to grow. He wants the child to be responsible. Right? So they focus on discipline. Their entire focus goes on, mere ko discipline karna hai. And their understanding of discipline somehow becomes like punishment and control. Whether it is a right definition, we'll see. So actually, if you came in my last programs also, I talked about this, that the discipline is all about teaching and training, not punishing and controlling. Because, nobody can learn anything from you, especially if you spoil their mood. अगर तुम हमेशा चिल्लाता रहेगा, तो तुमसे कोई नहीं सुनने वाला. वाइफ के साथ देख लो भाई. Husband can see it with the wife. कितना wife listen करती है? How much our wife listens to you if you keep shouting? Right? So, and no decent personality will be able to learn from you. Teacher keeps shouting on the student cannot learn. So there has to be affection and love. But somehow the authoritarian parents feel that they have a slogan. What is that? That spare the rod, spoil the broth. As they say, spare the rod. If you spare the rod, what will happen? Then there can be, my child can become naughty. My child can, get spoiled. So they are overly conscious about, my child's wrong behavior should not happen. उसके वजह से बहुत strict रहता है. वो बहुत इतना strict रहने से क्या हो जाता है? The child cannot learn only actually. So we'll see that. Let's see a case study also very soon. But let's see some more characteristics of authoritarian parents. See, they are well-minded parents. Their intentions are very good. Their intention is to raise responsible teenagers, obviously. But are they going to achieve it or not? That is a question which I am asking you. They are convinced that they know the best. अभी एक बड़ा प्रॉब्लम इंडियन पेरेंट्स में मैंने देखा है. तो जनरली कई सारे इंडियन पेरेंट्स कभी ना कभी किसी ना किसी टाइम पे ऑथोरिटेरियन हो जाते हैं. They feel that I know the best. Now the problem is that you know the best, but what is that best? The best is that you should have a participation and discussion with your children. So I think last month also you saw when Krishnamurti sir came, he also discussed a lot about participative parenting. Today the Mukteshwar Rao sir also talked about participative parenting. Actually, what is the best? You say you know the best, but my question is, what is the best? best is to have a discussion. We'll discuss more when we talk about the other few parenting styles on this. For now, let's go ahead. So they're convinced that they are the best and they don't want to listen anything from the children. Especially from children, they don't want to listen. They feel that क्या ये बच्चा छोटा बच्चा ये क्या सीखे, क्या बोलेगा? Decision will be wrong only. I only will have to teach him everything. ये थोड़ा सा problem हो रहा है. We'll see how. Next, what happens? Non-participative style of parenting. So let me give you a case study for this. Like, let's take an example and let's discuss a threadbare. And I think that should be the end of our today's program. Other three parenting styles and goal of parenting I'll discuss in the next one. Make sure if you wish to learn more wisdom on parenting, please meet me next month. We'll announce a date very soon on your. If you keep seeing our Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, you be connected with us. You'll always get the dates. And SAB, if you have subscribed to this channel, Amal and Das official, you'll definitely get a notification of when is the program. So please kindly be with us. So connect to our group. So we have many volunteers. If you want your children, your teenage children, to be connected with us, yes, this is a very good platform. Write to us on amalanddas.connect@gmail.com, and you can connect your children or you can get connected to us. As well as, there are many forums which probably at the end they're going to announce. If you want to contact us, they will be giving you the where to contact, etc. You can have a more further journey with us. Not just limited with this YouTube channel, but beyond the YouTube channel also. Right? So that is up to you. Let me take a case study so as to explain this style, and then that would be the end of this program. So the example is of, let us say, there is a boy Venkatesh. I'm just giving an example. So he's age 13, and he comes home from the school. The afternoon from the school is coming, and is feeling very low from the school. He's not in the right mood. He's not happy somehow. So something was happened in the school. Aisa ho sakta hai, right? And he comes and he sees his mother has already prepared a very nice meal. Obviously mothers to bahut caring hota hai. So she has prepared a nice meal, but the child's mood is off. So he is not in the mood of eating only. So, but mother asks, so come beta, come, let's have a lunch. We'll have together. I have prepared a very nice meal. Venkatesh said, Mama, no, I'm not feeling well. I don't want to eat. Immediately the mother catches, attention of the Venkatesh and says, beta, be grateful to what you are getting. एक मिनी लेक्चर वहां पे आ जाता है, किसके द्वारा? मम्मी के द्वारा. मम्मी मिनी लेक्चर डाउनलोड करती है, बोलती है you are not grateful for what you get. How come you cannot be? I made so much with great difficulty for you. बेटा तू ऐसा क्या कर रहा है? The more you are growing, now you are 13, the more you are becoming irresponsible. The more you are not knowing the value of anything in life. Come, how can you miss the meal like this? Come, chalo, बैठो, lunch table पे चलो, उधर बैठ करके you should take the lunch. This makes the mood of already बेचारा mood गलत moods लेके आया Venkatesh, and after coming to home more he got a mini lecture from the mother. उससे mood और off हो गया. With half heart he sat on the lunch table, right? And because half heart, so only half meal he ate. Of his usual meal he only ate half, and he was not eating further. And so after some time when mother saw her, why are you not eating, she started questioning. Eat, come on, it's very important for you. I already told you importance of eating good meal, full meal. It is good for your health. It is required for you. You must take it. So the Venkatesh is not speaking. He said no. Then the mother starts scolding. He started demanding Venkatesh, come on, finish off your meal. How can you leave your dinner table, lunch table like this? We don't have this culture at our home. Our home has a very good culture of respecting food, and so many things she started telling. And my God, under pressure, Venkatesh was like, he just gulped down the food, but he was feeling very resentful in his heart. And then he went to his room and just kept quiet. So this is a small example. Now, dekho, my dear parents, please try to understand. This could be happening on a typical day in any family, right? On a typical day, it can happen on any way. Now, why the mother behaved like this? There could be background. Okay, so I'm not saying that parents are ill-intentioned at any time. ऐसा नहीं होता. At least very rarely it can happen, of course. But many of the responsible parents, they are not mean-minded. They want to do something good for children. But whether they achieve the good or not is the very important thing. That is called as parenting style. Whether something good is learned by Venkatesh or not, let us think about it. So isko socho. What happened to Venkatesh? Did Venkatesh learn anything from this episode? With his heart feeling low already, He is only feeling resentful from the mother's behavior. As you see, I narrated to you. He's only feeling very resentful. He's feeling, why my mother cannot understand me? She is always, telling me, do this, don't do this. But I also have some thoughts. So he is always, at the best, such a boy will stop respecting himself, his own feelings and emotions, or at the worst, he will basically become a person who, doesn't know what is right and wrong. Right? Cannot believe himself because the mother is not trusting the emotions of the son. So the son also becomes confused. Should I trust myself or not? Right? So the emotion of the child is not feeling good, but the mother is ignoring that emotion and saying, no, you must eat, ignoring all that emotion. So the child is learning to neglect his emotions. But is it possible? He will become only confused because the emotions don't go away by neglecting them. If the mother instead spoke about the incidents, okay, kya ho gaya, beta, why are you low? So then the emotion would have come out, and the dealing, we could have dealt with that emotion in the right or whatever way was required. But without hearing the child, emotion has remained. And he is getting to know from the mother that he should not trust his own emotions. His emotions are saying, I'm not feeling good. Mother is saying, you don't have a right to feel like this. You have to eat, all that. So he will become confused. They will not be able to understand whether they're feeling right or wrong and how to deal with their emotions. And especially because of being resentful with his mother, the bond between the mother and the son will be spoiling. Because the son feels my mother doesn't listen me, my mother doesn't care for my emotions. Although from the mother's perspective, she is caring and loving. From the child's perspective, the mother is not loving him because he has been unheard. His feelings are not accounted for. Similarly, in this entire episode, the mother's purpose was that the child, the Venkatesh, should learn the value of food and also value of eating right meal. But is he learning anything? Far from learning. Okay, immediately he got, the Venkatesh ate the full meal. So mother can think objective achieved. But my dear parents, उसने lesson internalize नहीं किया है. The Venkatesh has not learned any lesson, the value of the meal or whatever was being taught to him. He was all the while resentful, emotional dealing में था, emotional setup में था, तो कुछ वो सीखा नहीं. बाद में उसको फिर से he will not be knowing the value of the meal, etc., whatever was being taught. So the entire style of this parenting becomes totally ineffective because it is more focused on rules, regulations, no participation, and do this, don't do this kind of thing. This doesn't work. This is a very ineffective style. Next, so here I think this is a time to end, and we can have questions and answers. But the point here I'm mentioning is that if you want to know further, please come in the next month in the webinar where I'm going to tell you what is the right parenting style and what few other wrong parenting styles. And finally, the goal of parenting should be achieved. How we can raise our children such that the goal of parenting, of raising responsible teens, can be achieved. So I'm very thankful to you. I hope that you enjoyed this entire program. It was helpful for you and learned something very wonderful. Once this program has been put up, published in the YouTube, you can always tell to us, you can comment over this, you can tell us your questions also. If there are any questions right now, I can have question and answers, otherwise we can end. So Giridhar, you can decide.
Okay, sir. There is one very nice question which has come from the parent. So the parent says that the children are not inspired by if there are two parents, the children are not inspired by the parent who's perfect, and they copy only the parent who's not following things properly, who's not perfect. So both the parents have to be responsible. How to face this kind of a challenge?
Can you repeat once more?
Yeah, so the children, suppose there are two parents. One of the parent is trying to be responsible, trying to role model the right qualities, and the other one is not doing that. He's not perfect. So in this situation, the child is taking more inspiration from the parent who's not perfect. So how do we deal with this challenge? Because both the parents have to be responsible.
Yeah. Very true, very true. This is a situation. Dekho, family is about samanvay. Very important thing. I'm not talking about family today. I've only talked about parenting styles. So in the future, we can also talk sometime about a family. So what is a family? So family is about, in short, I'm telling you, family is about samanvay. Though different log, father, mother. In fact, actually, family is bigger than just two. But at least let's talk about these two, because in today's nuclear families, you don't have opportunity for grandmother, grandfather, and cousin and this and that. At least दो लोग, है ना? उसके बाहर भी जाना चाहिए, but समन्वय. More than one person coming together for a common purpose, utilizing the energy for the common purpose, that makes a family. आप एक see गाड़ी, take an example of a train. So if the train has to progress ahead further, you know, one wheel is on one track, another wheel is on another track, but in such a way that they go together. ये connected है, together जाता है. मान लो एक व्हील इस तरफ जा रहा है, एक व्हील इस तरफ जा रहा है, तो होगा क्या? तो बेचारा गाड़ी उधर ही रुक जाएगा. So that is called as mother is going this way, the father is going this way, a child is nowhere. So in fact, before learning parenting, you have to learn about family. But of course, there are different courses which we teach. We also teach how to live harmoniously in a family. That's a different course altogether. Today I'm talking about parenting. So yeah, this is a question. So therefore, I'm just sharing small wisdom for this. We can also discuss this in details in future. Anyway, in my book is also coming in one of the chapters, I'm writing about family, about what family is and how that family feeling should come. So maybe in the future seminar, I will talk about the 5 things which are required to create a family. देखो 5 pillars होते हैं एक family के. अभी मैं आपको सिर्फ बोल सकता हूँ, लेकिन इसको समझाने के लिए मुझे बाद में मैं कभी कर सकता हूँ. You know, it's coming in my book also. So TEARS. These are the 5 things required for making a strong bonded family where synergy principle will be there, such that the train can progress, the child can progress. Yeah. So what is T for tolerance? What is E for encouragement? What is A for appreciation? What is R for respect? And what is S for service? जब पापा मम्मी में these are the 5 pillars of relationship. When it is built up like that, T for tolerance, E for encouragement, A for appreciation, R for respect, S for service. एक एक बहुत बड़ा बड़ा चीज है. मेरे को एक एक घंटा with examples मैं आपको समझा सकता हूँ. वो अलग है. If you want a seminar on family and the couples are coming together, that is, I can take that seminar also in the future. But right now I'm talking focusing more on parenting. So from that perspective, if there is a synergy in the home, you can expect the child's growth. If there is no synergy, बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है. तो इसीलिए जो मैच्योर पेरेंट है, अभी जो भी पूछ रहा है या फिर जो भी मैच्योर है, उसको क्या करना चाहिए, what he should do, what he or she should do. So mature parent should build a relationship with the other partner and also utilize that relationship for the child to grow. Yeah, the child to grow. That is very, very important. I think there is a problem in the setup now, so we can end the program here, Giridhar, and we can continue the announcements, etc. Okay?
Okay, sir. Sure. So actually, thank you, sir. You gave due to some technical issues, we actually, I think, lost your video in between. But nonetheless, you had mentioned the tiers formula, which is actually very amazing. And as you said, maybe we can elaborate it some other time. And also in your session, you mentioned one very interesting analogy of getting a child is like getting a CCTV. So that was a very, very interesting point. So in interest of time, I'll quickly move over to announcements that we have. We have very 2 short announcements for you. The first announcement that we have is please fill the feedback form, which we are going to be sharing with you in the YouTube comments now. Do let us know how we can improve. It'll take only a few minutes of your time and it would help us a lot. And also don't forget, if you wish, you can pre-order the Parenting Teenagers in 21st Century, the book by Mr. Amal sir. And these are, the kind of webinars that you're attending. All of this wisdom with lot of, amazing insights you can find in the book, which will help you think and keep it with you as a companion. And second announcement is our next sessions. So on the 9th of May, we have 5 habits of highly effective students continued. So this is, as we said, we have 2 webinars per month, one for your children, one for the teenagers, and one for the parents. So on May 9th is our continuation of the April's webinar for students. 5 Habits of Highly Effective Students. And on May 23rd is the continuation of today's webinar. So today we discussed with you the authoritarian style of parenting, the next style such as authoritative style, permissive, neglectful style, etc. will be discussed in the next session. So please join us. Please join us for the next program, and please bring your friends too. If you felt that this was a beneficial session, you learned something, please do bring your friends too, so that we can really make a good change in society. Thank you very much.